And here we go. Is this the third episode already of this?
Already 3.
3 of these bad boys are, well, 2 of them are in the books. Three of them are going to be in the books when we're done talking.
Yeah.
Once we get through all of this segment of what the stuff
All
we
right.
want to talk about. But this is, in fact, the third episode that you're tuning into right now of Fans of the Weast with your hosts,
Derf
and Dylan. I didn't tell him we were going to do that. I'm just gonna keep doing that.
It's gonna keep pausing.
Yeah, until it becomes natural. Like, oh, he saw this. Yeah, like, we're just gonna practice it without actually practicing it. We're gonna fuck it. We'll do it live. I gotta get that on the soundboard.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. That's the high quality production that we bring you here at Derf and Dylan Productions and Fans of the Weast, that you will get every single week that you tune into this podcast on things like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Radiocast, Castbox, and other podcasting platforms that you might listen to. There's a bunch of them out there, a whole bunch of random ones.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
So you have your choices of places you want to listen to Derf and Dylan Fans of the Weast. And you can also watch this if you just really enjoy YouTube. Then you can go on YouTube and watch us. It's just the same exact words and whatnot, but it gives you that visual effect. It makes you really feel like you're connecting with us.
All these beautiful faces.
Yeah, if that's your thing. I mean, we're not really telling you how to live your life, but, you know, I encourage you to go over there and just see what you're working with here, you know. If you just listen to it and never seen Derf and Dylan, you know, just kind of pop over there and just be like, wow, these are the 2 guys that were, wow, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes you never know what the voice really how it really matches up to how the person looks. And it's like, I've even done it with podcasts I listen to on the, like, outside of what we do, and it's like, was not expecting that person to have that voice based on the image I created in my head from listening to their podcast.
Perfect example, even not podcast, but even just radio. Perfect example
radio
is
too.
Gene and Battaglia. I just butchered that name. I know. His name always gets me.
Gene Battaglia?
Yeah, we had them on, because they're on the Buffalo radio, ESPN here locally for us. And we had them on the podcast when we were doing On and Off the Field. Yeah, their voices don't match their face. And that's just how it really is for a lot of podcasters and radio people. Like, you have a different voice. You create something almost that's just
right.
like, there's no way that's your real voice, right? Like, but it is, and it's super weird.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a YouTube channel for you to go ahead and do that. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the Week 1 NFL showdowns for the Buffalo Bills and Seattle Seahawks. But first, our unofficial sponsor for this episode is Halloween Oreos. Halloween Oreos, you can now find them way too early in all of your favorite stores like Walmart, locally for us, Wegmans, Aldi. They have them. And it's just regular Oreos, but the frosting is orange, and it just absolutely smacks.
Yes. Speaking of fall stuff.
Ooh, uh-oh.
Have you had any fall beer yet?
I have not. If you count tequila as a fall beer, then yes, but other than that, no, I have not.
Well, I'll tell you, it was August 30th, and I was drinking Oktoberfest, and I don't care.
That's fine. If it's out and available for the public, then it's fair ball.
I got some Genesee Oktoberfest, and then I got 3 Heads made an Oktoberfest lager. And I was like, well, that looks pretty nice. So I bought that too.
So you're stocked up on your fall beers.
Yeah. I also had this cran orange color beer from Genesee.
Cran? Like Crayola crayons?
No, like cranberry orange.
Oh, cranberry. I was like, you're drinking crayons? What?
Not crayons.
Well, that's how I say. That's how I say.
Well,
crayons.
I say crayon too, but
yeah.
like, yeah, cranberry orange, cran orange, Keller beer is that we've had it before on those when we've been to the brew house with that chicken sandwich that they make.
Oh,
Or
that
that
stuff.
sauce.
Oh my.
I have the beer, yeah.
I want to make that
haven't-
an official sponsor of the show. Like, just not even Genesee, just that sandwich.
Just that sandwich.
Yeah, just the sandwich.
Sponsored by a chicken sandwich.
Cran orange chicken sandwich from who cares? Just the sandwich. Oh my gosh. Best thing, top 5 thing I think I've ever eaten in my life.
Yeah.
It was so good. Oh my gosh. Another top 5, orange frosting, Halloween, Oreos. The unofficial sponsor of episode 3 of Fans of the Weast with Derf and Dylan.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Football's here. It's really where it's happening. Like for real this time.
It feels surreal still.
Yeah.
That we are recording on Tuesday or 2 days away from actual full speed starter football that matters.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's under 48 hours at this point. Like, if just kickoff is probably around maybe like 8 to 8:20 usually, so maybe we're just about exactly 48
just
hours.
About 48 hours, yeah.
Since we're recording this on September 6th. It's weird because we used to do live stuff. Now we're recording, so I feel like I should make that known.
Right.
This is Tuesday now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does feel kind of weird. It's not going to hit until Thursday when I'm sitting at work just going, oh my God, just hurry up. I just want to watch football. Hurry up. I just want to watch football. Oh gosh. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be a blast. And that Thursday game is actually the first one that we gotta dive into a little bit, because that's 50% of the show, which is the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Not the Rams. The Bills.
The not surprising first game of the year, I would say.
No. I mean, usually it's the Super Bowl champs that get first dibs on the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kind of have to look at the schedule and go, all right, who are they playing and what's going to make a good game? That was probably the fastest conversation, like the entire time they were making the schedule. They were like, it's the Bills, right? They're like, yeah, it's the Bills. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, because I don't know when else would they want to schedule this game? It's like, nope, let's just do it. Like this is what should have been a Super. This should have been a Super Bowl last year.
You see, this matchup would have happened regardless, because I feel like even if the Bills did go on and they won the Super Bowl, like this still would have been the Week 1 matchup.
But it wouldn't though, because the Bills would have been at home.
They still would have done it though. That's right, they couldn't. You're right.
The Bills would have been at home. So
way to throw logic into my shit. Whatever. You and your logic, okay.
But say the Bills have gone. Okay, this still would have happened if the Bills made the Super Bowl and the Rams still won.
Yeah. Then
this would have been the game that happened.
100%. And then the Bills might win this game, and then they'd be like, "It's our revenge game. We got our revenge." But it's like, you won a Week 1 matchup and not a Super Bowl. Right. That I love those kinds of games. Like, it's kind of like Seattle here. Like Russell Wilson's coming back to Seattle for like a revenge game almost, like to get back at the team that treated him like crap down the road. It's like, how much of a victory is it at the end of the day? Like, what are you taking from us? You're giving us what we want, and that's a loss. Every number that we add to the loss column is a win in my book. That's how I'm. So him really treating us like crap is to like kind of fake an injury and go to the sideline and like let us win the game. That I would be upset about. Like, he knew. That guy knew. Dang it. Now we got to tank even harder. Starting off 1-0 like son of a gun. That's Geno Smith throws for 5 touchdowns. God damn it. All right, so the first matchup of the show, first matchup of the season, super exciting. We got the Bills going to LA to play the Rams. What's the first break? What's just like the first breakdown here? What are we looking at as a game? The atmosphere. We already talked about how this could have, should have, maybe have been the Super Bowl matchup. What is the hype now right around this?
The hype or my matchups?
Over big picture.
Big picture. This is basically the Super Bowl champs versus a team with a quarterback who played absolutely flawlessly in the playoffs and still lost. So this is a Super Bowl team that did add some, pieces to the puzzle on offense. They did lose a good defensive player who happened to go to the Bills and Von Miller. And, this is the Bills team that they literally released almost starters on any other team at the 53-man roster cuts because of how deep this team goes. So it's like it's just two giants right now. Is basically the way I see it. These are two giant teams playing against each other. Like, this is not lopsided by any means. I think this is the absolute best matchup that the NFL could have asked for in week 1 to start the season.
It's almost like they script it like this, which they kind of did.
Right.
I mean, like I said before, there was no thinking process that went behind making this matchup happen.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at the Rams schedule. Who are they playing at home? The Bills. Let's move forward. And this is the absolute number one way to just absolutely hype up the NFL season right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
And they got a couple of matchups like that this week, like outside of this. I mean, obviously we have the Seahawks and Broncos with Russell Wilson coming back to Seattle, but I mean, they got like a couple division matchups. Mm-hmm. They got like Patriots and Dolphins mixed in there. They got the Chargers and the Raiders happening. I mean, there's a lot of good week 1 matchups.
Which was interesting. Yeah. And then the other one, too, I think is, Panthers. And that is going to be a great game, but Panthers-Browns, I think, is a good one. With Baker Mayfield telling someone, telling a reporter he's going to F them up.
Do you think he said it? Because he came out and said he didn't say it. And, like, this person, like, just kind of went out and made this up. Like, but it's Baker Mayfield we're talking about. This is, like, the guy who, like, like flipped off an opposing sideline or, like, did the old, like, thing, in college.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, grabbing his junk and whatever. And
it's not far-fetched to believe he would just go out and say, like, yeah, I'm going to F up my former team. Like, yeah, that's within the wheelhouse of Baker Mayfield. So,
right.
I don't know why he backtracked. He's like, I didn't say that. Like, just own it, man. Like, you're going to – come on. Obviously, you want to go and beat up the Browns. They treated you like crap, man.
Yeah.
Little sidetrack there. But yeah.
Little sidetrack.
Week 1 hype, though. A lot of week 1 hype.
A lot of – yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, I've just been kind of figuring out the best way to go about this because, once again, we do this stuff on the fly and we don't really do anything we don't do anything really professional around here. So what's your first matchup you're looking for in this game? Like something that's you're going to be looking for. Maybe it's a game changer thing, something that's going to be the pivot point in the game. What's your matchups for the game?
So I guess I kind of cheated here and did a 2-parter on my first one here.
Oh, God.
But it is the Bills secondary, mainly Kyer Elam versus Cooper Kupp, because I would guess that he's going to be, lining up against Cooper Kupp majority of the time. How well does this rookie play? How often are the Bills, bringing him off the field to put Christian Benford in, and to just keep those guys fresh? How does Elam play versus a star receiver who can make big plays, can run the routes they need to get open? We saw Elam play, I would say, very well in the preseason against some starters mostly second and third stringers, but still did a really good job. Was on point, being able to cover the route and being there to make the tackle. Um, so I'm a little focused there, but then at the same time, I'm also focused on Diggs versus Ramsey, because I think that's going to be another receiver corner versus here to keep an eye on. Does Jalen Ramsey stay with Stephon Diggs, or does Ramsey think he can get smart and be sly about it and follow Gabriel Davis more? Because as soon as you shut one of them down, Josh is gonna find the other guy every time. So it's interesting to see, and kind of what happens there. And I just thinking about Diggs versus Ramsey, this made me kind of think of, this is from the Thanksgiving game last year with the Bills, where Diggs made that amazing route. He just like left the corner. I can't remember which corner it was now. I don't know if it was Gardner, Chancey Gardner Johnson or not, but he left him just sitting there, peels out to the left, the ball's right there to catch and touchdown. Like, the Bills have great route runners. Can a top tier corner stop them? Is something that I'm curious to see in there for sure.
Like, what's the over under on like the broadcast booth mentioning Diggs versus Ramsey? Like if I set the number at like 26.5, like they're just like, look at Diggs and Ramsey. Look at even when it's a run play, look at Diggs and Ramsey going at it on the outside. Like, you just know that's the matchup that they're going to be talking about.
Because it's NBC who's airing the game, I would smash the over on that.
Yeah, I mean, especially since it's prime time. Like, you just know for a fact, like, no matter what the play is, as long as those two even just bump each other. Oh, look at these two guys going physical on the outside. Like, oh, my God. It was a run game, boy. It was a run play, boys. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
I do like the Elam versus Cup. Like, I mean, that's really – I think the main thing to take away from Elam versus Cup matchup would be don't set your expectations too high. Like, if you can keep Cup to roughly – like, what's the number you're looking for? Because I want to say under 100 yards, and I feel like that'd be a very successful night for Elam.
I think under 100 would be successful. Even if it's 99, I don't care. It's still under 100. But I would expect Kaiir Elam to give up probably 6 catches.
I mean, speaking of route runners, I mean, Cup just knows how to get himself open. So as long as you can, like, minimize the damage, he can make tackles. Yeah. Maybe get a couple of breakups in there, like 1 or 2. I mean, you're just looking for, like, solid play out of the rookie at this point. You're not looking for him to, like, okay, I want you to go out there and shut down the Triple Crown receiver from last year. It's probably not going to happen.
Definitely don't want that. Definitely just like be like, let's just stick to basics. Do what you know best. Follow the game plan, and things, and And the thing too is Elam's not just out there on an island by himself as much as he is, he's not, because you have, I think, the best safety duo in the NFL starting this week. They're going to be there to, play that high cover 2. They're going to be able to, support Elam where they need to make it a little easier for Elam to do his job.
And it's not even a stretch to say that. I agree. Like, it's hard to think of a better safety tandem than those two out there. All right. So what's the second point? What are we looking here? Second matchup, big game turner.
Second matchup. I'm looking to see what this revamped offensive line can do versus Aaron Donald, and hopefully their helmet straps are on tight. Aaron Donald's up in their helmets off this Thursday. How can this offensive line work cohesively? Because we really haven't seen them work a ton in the preseason. Obviously, practice they're, doing what they can, but how much can they really slow this guy down? Because I think that's probably the Rams' biggest threat on the defensive line, and I'm sure they'll double team him, but it's what can we do? What can the offensive line do to give Josh Allen that extra split second, keep him from, getting, tied up in or caught up in the middle in the where the the line's blocking and having to run 20 yards around them to get open spots so we can make a throw. And it's how much can they really make that extra time and can slow down Aaron Donald just enough.
That's what it's all about, because you're not stopping him unless you're putting like 4 guys on him. You're slowing them down. Let the play develop. You don't need them back there in 0.2 seconds destroying the play.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Good one. That's one that, I mean, every NFL team when you play the Rams, that's probably like the number one thing they're circling is just like, so how are we taking care of that guy? And then point number 3. What's your third matchup?
Point number 3. I am really interested to see what this running game by committee for the Bills ends up doing. Obviously, with Singletary, Moss, and Cook being your primary runners, obviously we could see Cook being a healthy scratch this week, trying to, if they're not going to need him, they're not going to need him. Singletary really kind of broke out a little bit last year, and whereas Moss, I think, didn't. He kind of went the other way a little bit. But, I'm curious to see what Ken Dorsey can do with this running back by committee situation here and see, how much pressure can they take off of Josh Allen by being able to run the ball, because I think that's something that Brian Daboll struggled a lot with. I think until maybe the offensive line was like, okay, we're up by 15 or up by 2 touchdowns. Like, can we please run the ball? Like, and then Singletary gets hot, and it's like, oh, okay. And then then they can rely on it more. And it's like, you don't have to, and it's gonna happen. They're like the number 1 team to be able to attempt a pass on the first down, versus any other team, I think, in the NFL. And, maybe we can take that down in a couple notches. Maybe we can mix in a couple runs, but it's got to be there, though. Like, we can't just have these, like, 1, 2, -1 yarded runs. Like, it's got to be, it's got to be substantial. We got to, there's got to be momentum there. And so I'm really curious to see what this running game is going to look like versus this Rams defense.
Well, you just kind of described the whole post-Super Bowl Russell Wilson era, where we run the ball on first or second down for a net yardage of like -1, and now Russell Wilson has to deal with a 3rd and 11. That was the majority of his career post-Super Bowl. So it's not fun, and they definitely don't want to do that to Josh Allen. That's not fun for anybody to be watching. So if he has to take over, let him take over. I saw a graph. It was pretty funny that showed teams' successful conversion rate, with a set of downs when they pass on first down. I didn't look for Josh Allen. I should have. But it was funny that the worst quarterback by a billion miles, of course, was Geno Smith. And it was like, he did have, it was like per 100 attempts or whatever the stat was on top. Right. So like, he was obviously the worst, but that was a long time ago, so I don't foresee the Seahawks really changing their plan moving forward about, passing on first down. They'll probably just keep with their strategy of, let's just run the ball into the heart of the defense a billion times. That's our thing. What are okay, we'll get to the other points here. I'm trying to figure out how we want to organize this on the fly. So let's switch gears to the other game real quick.
All right.
So we'll switch over to the Seahawks at home against the Broncos. Obviously, this is the return of Russell Wilson to Seattle after he was just traded. So it's not like he forgot what Seattle looked like. He was literally just here. It's not like it's been a couple of seasons or, this is week 17. Like, he got traded, and it's like, okay, now let's go kick their ass. Like, that's the mindset right now. He didn't take a single snap in preseason. The starters for the Broncos were never all out in the field at once. So I feel like that's interesting. You have a new head coach,
right,
which brings in obviously a new some form of a new playbook, and you get a new quarterback, and you don't want to take any live snaps. Okay. You do you, boo. I don't care. It's a little weird to me, but Russell Wilson's a vet. I guess he'll be fine. I don't know. I guess they'll figure out one way. I think maybe they saw the Seahawks game as like their fourth preseason game where they can kind of now get the starters out there. And, that's probably what they're thinking, which I don't really blame them.
Well, I mean, do you think it's them being foolish not playing him in the preseason, or do you think it's the way, or could you assume that with the practice has gone so well with Hackett's playbook, and Russ has like really been able to pick it up really well that maybe they don't need to see it live, before week one, him on the field?
I feel like you still want to see it live. Like even the Bills put Josh Allen in there with the starters for a drive. And they've been together for a long time. And they went to like playoff games together. Like you get in, I don't care how well you think practice is going. Like you need to get out there on the field. Like just one drive. I just find it kind of odd. Maybe it's not the end of the world, but I'm sure they'll be fine. They're going to figure it out. Whether it takes them like the first half, they just have a couple of miscues. Maybe we expect to see that out of the Broncos. But the team you really expect to see a lot of miscues from is the Seattle Seahawks. And they're not really miscues. It's just going to be their poor level of play that we expect to see out of them this year.
Just expectations.
Yeah, that's just the Broncos' miscues are the Seahawks' expectation. That's kind of where we're at right now. So, that's kind of your big picture right there. It'll be interesting to see what he does when he comes back. That's really what we're looking for. But for my matchups, my first matchup is Russell Wilson focused, and it's going to be Pete Carroll being able to instill the defense that's made Russell Wilson struggle at times when he was with Seattle. Pete Carroll saw what made Russell Wilson struggle and went into film rooms with him and worked with him and understood what he was seeing, what made him frustrated. He was sitting next to the guy that struggled against cover 4 defenses, exactly how they were set up, and time and time again, he was not able to pass the ball into. So why wouldn't he be able to just go to his defensive coordinator and just be like, hey, bud, we're running this defense all night. And if he beats it, he beats it. That means he figured it out. Good for him. But this is what we're going to do, and this is our best chance, especially since we got like rookies in the back end at corners. You got a rookie in the slot. I mean, you got a lot of young blood on a lot of places on this defense. So you need to give them a formula for success. And running a cover 4 and making Russell Wilson have to pass into a confusing coverage for him is your best chance. Yeah.
And I think and if the Broncos can't pass, then they're going to have to, rely on their run game a little bit more. And, how strong is that run game? It's just, I think that's, like you said, that's got to be Seattle's number one objective there, is her priority.
And that's the downside, though, because Seattle's run game defense is still garbage. So, I mean, they can still beat us that way. But at the end of the day, as a Seahawks fan, as Seahawks yourselves, wouldn't you rather be happier that Melvin Gordon beat you and not Russell Wilson?
If I was a Seahawks fan, I would say so. I'd take that.
If Melvin Gordon rushes for 3 touchdowns and Russell Wilson only has like 200 yards passing and an interception, I can go home and sleep at night. Like, I'm going to be okay with that. If Russell Wilson drops 5 touchdown passes on us, that one's going to make me cry. That's the difference right there. My second matchup here is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, especially Geno Smith, wearing action green uniforms versus reality. All right, now let's break that one down a little bit, because the Seahawks themselves, including Geno Smith, are 4-1 wearing action green. All right? They look sexy as hell wearing action green. It's my favorite uniform combo in NFL history. You heard that right. My favorite uniform combo in NFL history. Geno Smith was gunslinging last time he wore them, including the DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf popped off when he wears action green. All right? Action green makes these Seahawks play well. I don't know why, but they do. But they have to face reality, which is the opponent here, which is this is not a good team. All right.
Right.
So is the action green, buff going to be strong enough? Or is the fact that this team sucks going to take that record down to 4-2?
I mean, would you rather have them feel confident in the action green and put up a fight and still lose somewhat closely? Or would you rather have them just get slightly obliterated?
Yeah. No, I'd rather see a closer game. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, because I still want the L at the end of the day. I mean, I would not be upset with a W here. Let's be honest. I'm not going to be the complete doom and gloom guy where I want us to go 0-17. To beat Russell Wilson in the Broncos here would be awesome. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
And then everything after that, you just shit the bed for the rest of the season. So if they do win this one, that would be cool. But the reality is the best case scenario, I think, is, it's a close matchup where, it's a game-winning field goal for the Broncos at the end of the game. That would I would be okay with that, because then at least the action green puts up a fight. Because I don't want them to play horribly in the action green, and then they're sitting there thinking, maybe we should retire these uniforms. Don't you dare! Don't you dare retire that uniform. And my last matchup point here is, we all know Geno Smith in the past game is going to be pretty mediocre. I think that's not really a secret, even with DK Metcalf, Noah Fant, Colby Parkinson, Will Disley. I mean, we got a lot of pieces in the past game.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still Geno Smith throwing the football. I want to see the workhorse of this offense that is going to have to be this entire season at work. And that's going to be Rashad Penny, DJ Dallas, Travis Homer, and at some point, Kenneth Walker, the rookie, who's still recovering from his minor surgery. But we'll see him at some point.
Is he still recovering?
Yeah, he will not be active for this game as far as I know. If he does somehow play, it'll be a miracle. But this is going to be the offense. Pete Carroll finally got his wish, and he's going to have a run-first offense, and an offense that's not just run first, it's also run second, run third, run fourth. That's what this team's going to be built around, and I just want to see them play a real NFL defense now, because they played okay in the preseason. Like, DJ Dallas popped off. Travis Homer did really good things with his limited touches. Rashad Penny played a couple snaps. Kenneth Walker, not as many. Unfortunately, I didn't see a lot of him. But at the end of the day, they have to show me that if we're going to be competitive in any fashion, that they need to be 4 running backs, 3 or 4, that can just dominate for 4 quarters as a team. If you want running back by committee, this isn't even by committee. I don't even know what you call this, because running back by committee, at least you know who your first down guy is, like who your main RB1 is. The Seahawks don't know who that is. No one knows. If you ask Pete Carroll right now who's your RB1, he'd be like, well, we have 4. I guarantee that's where his head is at. Because they can all run, they can all catch, they can all pass block, they can all do everything. So it's the same thing where you say, we have 2 quarterback ones. Well, that's not true. But you do have 4 RB1s, and that's what we're going to have to work with for 17 weeks of football. So I'm excited to see them just kind of run up the numbers. I want to see 200-plus rushing yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns out of them. That's what I want.
Like, the Seahawks run game is literally going to be a bigger definition of running back by committee.
Yeah. I mean, it is the absolute definition of running back by
Right?
committee. Like, I don't like it's almost to the point where is it even considered running back by committee when it's this serious of an application of it? Because I feel like you need a new word for it almost. Because when the Bills talk about it, it's like, well, you have Singletary, but then there's also like Moss and Cook. It's like, but you know who your guy is. In this scenario, it's literally like any four of them can touch the field at literally any point in time. First down, second down, third down, fourth down. It could be any time any of them can get on the field. It's so bizarre, but that's also what kind of makes it exciting almost. Because
who is the technically the RB1 on the depth chart?
I have to look it up because I couldn't tell you. I mean, if I had to guess,
I would assume Penny.
If I had to guess, it's DJ Dallas, just based off of what we saw in preseason. Okay. He popped off in preseason. There was a series in the Dallas game. I remember watching this series specifically because I was like half paying attention because it's preseason.
Right.
And I was just kind of watching. And I was just like, DJ Dallas, this is a nice run. Oh, good run there, DJ. Oh, a little dump off pass there to DJ. Oh, good. Oh, that's a good run there. DJ with a good run. All right, that was an okay run there by DJ. Oh, DJ with another run. That's good. Oh, touchdown DJ. All right. No one else touched the ball on that drive except DJ Dallas, the center, and Geno Smith, who then handed off the ball to DJ Dallas. And I had to double check to make sure. I went to ESPN play-by-play. He was the only person to advance the ball that entire series, and it resulted in a touchdown. That's not even a joke. It was awesome. So that's, now you see where I'm coming from a little bit here, like about this running game, how it can really be the catalyst here. Ken Walker was also not wearing a helmet or pads during Tuesday's practice. So it looks like he's recovering, but it doesn't look like he'll start.
Right.
Let's take a look at the depth chart. Holy what? No way. This isn't accurate. There's no way this is accurate. There's no way this is actually how they feel about the team. Because right now, it's listed as Rashad Penny 1, Kenneth Walker 2nd string, Travis Homer 3rd, and DJ Dallas 4th. There's no way that's accurate. There's no way that's actually what they think.
I think that's gotta be old. I'm gonna pull up Seahawks Twitter right now.
There's no way that's right.
Because
I can see Rashad Penny being 1. All right, I can see. I don't disagree with how you view that. But DJ Dallas should be a bare minimum your 2nd string running back. Just based off of what you saw in preseason, entering this season, you should be looking at DJ as almost your starter. And I also didn't know this, but they only have 7 wide receivers on their roster. That seems like not a lot. I guess that's actually, that's kind of what. Well, one of them's on IR actually, so they only have 6.
Oh, they have Aloe Black is going to do a kickoff concert there at halftime.
I wish I knew who that was.
He did some pretty popular alternative music in 2013.
Okay.
Back when I was in college.
Oh, so a long time ago. Okay.
I mean, he's done stuff since then, but I remember him getting big then.
Okay.
Ironically, they don't post their depth chart on Twitter like the Bills do.
Oh, I guess Seahawks social media team's not up to snuff. Well, plus your game's a little closer, so they probably posted it because it's Thursday. I mean, the Seahawks might post theirs come, Thursday or Friday.
Come Thursday, yeah.
Yeah. To wrap up our breakdowns here, I know we already have a couple of other last minute points that we want to make. I'm sure we'll find a different way to do this moving forward, but
I'm sure.
Just some final thoughts about the game or any matchups that you got in your brain that you need to let the people know.
Yeah. So one that we didn't talk about much here is really Stafford versus Allen. These two quarterbacks. Who is really going to have the better game that I think could ultimately help their team win. Matt Stafford had the ailing elbow, which I've heard is, he's 100% fine, no issues going into Thursday's game, but, that could be in the back of his mind, playing a little bit, if he's feeling a little tender, throwing the ball there to Cooper Kupp. He just won the Super Bowl, and, he's got that, and, last time we saw Stafford on the field, they're hoisting Lombardi. And you have Josh Allen, who, we saw him for a series in the preseason, which looked like he didn't skip a beat. And the real last full game he played was probably one of the best games of the playoffs in NFL history. So it's really like, I feel like Josh Allen's going to come up. If we look at stats, I think Allen has a better game than Matthew Stafford. Fingers crossed that still leads to a Bills win.
He has a great game, but I really hope there's not a but there.
The Bills are favored at -2.5, with home field advantage is only about a 1.5 point favor right now. So technically, the Bills are favored by, I think 3.5 points right now. If you take, if you add the home field advantage into that. So, if for some reason the Bills lose against the Rams, which, it's going to be a tough game, but I think it's going to be a very exciting game. If the Bills get on track like they did against the Chiefs in those last 2 minutes, minus the defense falling apart, the Bills should win this. If they lose, there is absolutely no reason to panic. Let me repeat that for the people who might not have heard me.
Bills fans will be freaking out.
Absolutely no reason to panic.
You can already see Bills Mafia Twitter. You can see it already.
I'm sure.
Like, we're starting the season 0-1. Let's just hit the reset button. Send Josh Allen off to freaking Houston.
If this is anything like the Rams game, or not the Rams, the Buccaneers game last year, not that the Bills had to come from a large deficit, but they lost close in overtime, I would still hold my head up high for that kind of game. Granted, I want the Bills to be on the winning side of that, but if they were to lose in that fashion, if they get blown out, I'm going to be holding back the panic, because this is not what we've seen all preseason and all training camp, all the practices they've had, and to think that they would just fall apart from playing one of the best games ever last year. But I feel good about it. Just if for some weird reason they lose, do not panic.
I won't. I promise. Quick Seahawks point. I literally only have 1 point. I swear to God, like, if I find out, it's overall, specifically speaking, that if Seahawks fans should not boo Russell Wilson when he walks on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the kind of crap that Colts fans pulled after Andrew Luck retired, out here booing Andrew Luck, the guy who, like, tried turning around your absolute dog-ass franchise, all right? And Russell Wilson literally, along with the Legion of Boom, because I know I got to be fair here, but, he brought a Super Bowl to Seattle. First time ever. Mm-hmm. There's still teams out there, and I can think of one specifically, that don't have a Super Bowl trophy. All right? He brought one to Seattle and almost brought a second one. He was one bad Pete Carroll play away from bringing a second one to Seattle. All right?
Yep.
So I do not want to hear boos. Y'all should be showering him with praise and just being like, thank you for bringing what you brought to Seattle. Because he's the reason that we have the Kraken now. He's the reason the Mariners are popular again. He's the reason that the Supersonics might be on their way back in the NBA. He is the reason for Seattle sports being alive right now. So I swear to God, if you're booing, and I find out that you are a Seattle fan that I know that boos him, I will smack the ever-loving shit out of you. I will do it personally. And the last segment, the very last thing to bring up, this segment brought to you by BetUS, an official sponsor of Fans of the Weast and Derf and Dylan. BetUS, it's a betting service that you can use anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. You can literally, no matter what state you're in, anywhere, you can use BetUS. And it's a great online sports book. And it's also a casino, too, if you're into that stuff. But, you know, it's a sports book. Because we do sports here. We have our favorite bets for each of our game. This one, I'm probably going to I'm putting money on it. I love this one because this player kind of reminds me, or, you know, he's Russell Wilson's new DK Metcalf, who he loves just throwing the ball up to in the end zone. Yeah. This is going to be his guy, and it's Courtland Sutton. I'm taking a Courtland Sutton anytime touchdown at a plus 135. And Seattle's got a couple of shorter corners in the back end. Russell Wilson knows how to throw a perfect corner fade. Just a simple box out at this point. Courtland Sutton can just go, boop. Russell Wilson, perfect ball right there. Courtland Sutton touchdown. Yep. I turn $10 into 23, I think. Something like that.
Okay.
23.50, I think. So
nice.
Good money.
I can't go wrong with that. For me, I have I guess it's more likely so it's more specific. I have a Josh Allen rushing touchdown is my favorite bet. At plus 150. You know, if I had to be a betting man, I would take that Josh Allen is going to be inside the 2-yard line, going for a touchdown, can't get the ball off to either Singletary or toss it up to somebody, and he's just going to take it himself because Josh Allen does those things. And, you know, plus 150, I think that's a decent payout.
Yeah, that'll turn $10 into 25.
25, yeah.
That's a good payout, and Josh Allen is a man. That is a grown man that loves rushing touchdowns. And he wants that one to get his season started. You know, he's gonna. Want it. Big man wants the big TD. So that is the third episode of Fans of the Weast coming to a conclusion with your hosts,
Derf
and Dylan. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're listening to this on a podcasting platform, thank you. Make sure you subscribe and follow the show on whatever platform you're on. Leave a like or comment, whatever you want to do on there. And then also head over to our YouTube channel. If you're not already there, subscribe to that. Leave a like and a comment. We love all of that good interaction. We're on all the social medias, but make sure you hit us up on Twitter. And, we got if you're on YouTube, we have little symbols right here, too, a TikTok and a Twitter and a YouTube symbol. At Derf and Dylan is where you can go to find it. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a fantastic week 1 of NFL action. And as always, go Hawks.
Go Bills.